going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be doing a Manchester City transfer update. Remember, in around 3 weeks time we're going to be starting my daily Manchester City transfer update series, rolling every single day here on YouTube to keep you guys up to date this summer with all the latest Manchester City transfer news every single day here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Social media links, they're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Do leave a thumbs up. 200 likes is the aim. Finally, I want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by Sofascore. Sofascore are going to be keeping you guys up to date with all the latest scores from around the grounds and all the other football matches and other sports that you guys love to follow. All in one place, all in one app. Very highly rated. It's free to download, so worthwhile getting and trying out and see if you like it or not. Links and details, they are in the description. Remember, if you use my link, it does help to support the future content created here on my channel. So we're going to crack on with this video. We're going to start off with the outs, and we've got the very latest on Yan Couto. Now, TNT Sports over in Brazil, they have said that there's plenty of interest in Yan Couto this summer. They say Girona, they want to sign him again. Bayer Leverkusen, in particular, should Frimpong leave, you would think they're interested. Juventus, they're interested. Unnamed Premier League clubs, they're also interested as well. Personally, I'd like to see Yan Couto do pre-season with Manchester City, but I don't think that is going to happen because TalkSport are saying that Manchester City are contemplating selling Yan Couto, and they do want a whopping £40 million for him this summer. Now, if Girona were to sign him, I presume it would be on loan rather than a permanent transfer. So to me, £40 million, it opens up the equation here of him potentially being sold to another Premier League club. And Steve Kay has said that Arsenal scouts, they have instructed Mikel Arteta to seriously contemplate making a move for Yan Couto. And to me, normally I'd be dead against Manchester City selling to another Premier League rival. However, I've got no problem with this as long as we learn our lessons from the Cole Palmer error that we made last summer. And the only error that we made, because Cole Palmer's doing very well, is us not including a buyback option to bring him back to Manchester City in case he is a tremendous success. And if Arsenal are willing to pay £40 million for Yan Couto and Man City are happy to include some kind of buyback clause, I'd be even happy for the buyback clause to be a little bit cheaper if it meant that we did negotiate and bring our asking price of £40 million down. What I don't want is for us to do what we did with Cole Palmer and say, we want £40 million, and if Arsenal come in with a £40 million bid, we say, there we go, we're done and dusted, because Yan Couto's quality could come back to bite us on the backside. And also, we have an option here of a high quality young player where we're in a prime position for him to return back to Manchester City if he ends up doing tremendously well. And I think clubs are always willing, as long as they're their player, to give them options, because I don't think Cole Palmer would have done as well out on loan at another Premier League club, because clubs will know that he isn't actually their player. He is on loan, whereas if they pay cash for them, they're more than happy to utilise them because they are their player and they want to try and excel, or they want to try and make profit, etc, etc, etc. So to me, if we want to sell for £40 million, sell to Arsenal as long as we include a buyback clause. If we're not going to include a buyback clause, sell him away from the Premier League club. And for £40 million, I think we'll struggle to sell him to any club that isn't in the Premier League. So that's what I would do if I was in charge. Anyway, moving on, Issa Kabore and Mike Minay has said that he's heard that Yan Couto, what I was just informing you about there, he's heard the exact same, and that is the stance that we're looking at from Manchester City. But he said that Man City are also looking to sell Issa Kabore as well. He's currently out on loan with Luton Town, doing very well. Manchester City looking to sell him as well. Luton looking like they're going to be relegated from the Premier League, so we'll see if they do make a move for him on a permanent basis, and if Issa Kabore does want to go with them, or he goes to maybe another club in the Premier League, or he goes abroad, we'll have to wait and see. But a couple of young players there at City that have spent the season out on loan, looking like City looking for permanent sales this summer. Now moving on, we've got the latest on Bernardo Silva, and Rob Dawson has said that Bernardo is still looking for a new challenge next season away from Manchester City. He does go on, Rob Dawson, to say that Man City will not budge on that release clause. If we are to sell Bernardo Silva this summer, it will be for his release clause of £50 million, and it won't be anything less. And Man City will not be selling to another Premier League team. So we'll see what happens with Bernardo Silva, as I was speaking about in one of my other transfer updates recently. I wouldn't rule out Bernardo Silva staying at Manchester City, because I just don't think there's clubs out there that are going to spend £50 million, even though it is a bargain for a player of Bernardo Silva's quality. But here we are. Anyway, moving on, we've got the very latest on Ederson. Strange one, this one, but interesting. The Telegraph say that the Saudi League, they want to make an ambitious move in the summer for Ederson to try and sign him from Manchester City. Now, I don't see this happening. I know that there's been rumours circulating about Stefan Ortega leaving Manchester City, and Man City wanting to bring in another high-quality number 2 into the club. But what I don't see us doing is us letting Ederson leave. I know there's a few of you guys out there who said you'd like to see Ederson leave rather than Ortega. I think if there is a goalkeeper leaving City this summer, it will be Ortega. I'm 100% convinced on that, not Ederson. But we'll see if Saudi Arabia do make a move, and it'd be interesting if they do make a move, how much money it'll be for and what City's asking price would be, because Man City are always open to selling every single player if the price is right. The price might be very expensive, but if the price is right, then Man City would contemplate selling one of the best goalkeepers in the world in Ederson. What will Man City value him at? Because to me, irreplaceable, because there's just no other goalkeeper out there who we could bring in that could replicate what Ederson does for Manchester City. So that makes him irreplaceable as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see. Anyway, moving on to the ins, we've got some new names to talk about. I want to speak about Douglas Lukjanciks from Everton. Now, Alan Nixon says that the 16-year-old goalkeeper, who's part of the Everton Academy, Manchester City want to bring him in this summer and are prepared to spend up to £10 million to make that happen, to add him to Manchester City's academy. Alan Nixon does say that Man City, to try and sweeten the deal, are happy to send a young player from their academy over to Everton on a permanent deal as well. So something to keep an eye on for, but very much matching what Man City are looking for when it comes to high quality young players and our academy. And speaking of our academy, takes us on to an update on Cavan Sullivan. Now, Fabrizio Romano has announced that Cavan Sullivan has signed a new contract at Philadelphia Union. It's the largest ever homegrown deal to keep him at Philadelphia Union until the player turns 18 years of age, and then in 2027 the plan is that he will join Manchester City as part of the academy, signed, sealed and confirmed. So at the moment, Cavan is 15 years old, and Man City are happy for him to have 3 more years of development in the United States of America, then want to bring him over to Manchester to showcase what he can do. So, wanted to warmly welcome Cavan to Manchester City, even if it is 3 years premature. Now, moving on, we've got a new name, comes in the form of Bradley Locko. He's a 21-year-old left-back over at Brest over in France, and Alan Nixon has said that both Aston Villa and Manchester City are wanting to bring in the left-back from France. He's available for around £25 million this summer, and Alan Nixon does say that Manchester City are keen on making a move. We'll see what ends up happening there and what position City want to choose to add to. We know we're looking at central midfielders. We know potentially if Bernardo Silva leaves, we'll be looking at wide players as well, backup goalkeepers, potentially on that left-hand side for Manchester City as well. But we don't really play with a left-back, so I don't know. We'll see. I'd have thought if City were targeting fullbacks, we may have been looking more towards a long-term Kyle Walker replacement rather than that left-hand side, with it looking like we've got cover, obviously, with Nathan Ake and Joško Gvardiol looking outstanding in his new position for Manchester City, but City will always keep their options open. So we'll wait and see. Now, moving on to the final name in this transfer, and it's a player we've not really spoken about in the last 12 months. It comes in the form of an update on Dani Olmo, back in the headlines and being linked with a move to City now. Bild over in Germany have said that Manchester City, they've been in touch with RB Leipzig to ask about Dani Olmo's availability. At the moment, it is nothing more than Manchester City asking the question at this stage. Remember, when we're dealing with transfers, I always say that they're done in different stages or different hurdles, and the first hurdle is Manchester City having an interest in the player, which City clearly have got with Dani Olmo and have had that interest there for a long time. It's a big difference between Man City being interested in signing Dani Olmo, though, and Manchester City making a move. And what Man City normally do is they tend to cut out the middleman, so contact would be made with Dani Olmo's camp to ask about his availability. Would RB Leipzig be interested in selling him? And they'd put his agent to work and his entourage to work to try and make a move happen. In particular, if Dani Olmo communicates or his camp do to Manchester City that he would be interested in that move, that would be the next step. And then City City had looked to try and iron out all the agreements in place about how much the deal would cost, how much agent fees they'd be looking for, what wages they'd be looking for, find that personal terms agreement with the entourage of Dani Olmo, and then Manchester City would go into official talks with RB Leipzig with regards to that deal, which is something that we saw happen with Joško Gvardiol last summer, and City could be looking towards RB Leipzig again this summer when it comes to attacking midfielders and Dani Olmo. Now, it is believed he has a release clause in his contract this summer worth €65 million, so we're looking at roughly around £60 million, give or take, for Manchester City to bring him in. I think the only reservation I have about Dani Olmo, because he's the right age that Man City would be looking for, he's the right kind of fit, he's a very technical player, very gifted with his feet, he's good with his distribution and his passing, he's good with his creativity, he's an all-round solid good player that I think would be a good fit for Manchester City. My only problem is Dani Olmo spent a lot of time on the sick bed. He's injured a heck of a lot, and that would be my reservation about spending a good amount of money to bring in an attacking midfielder, a potential Kevin De Bruyne long-term replacement for a player that's always injured. So it's something City do have to think about. City have more or less got a good track record of dealing with injury-prone players and making sure that they're managed correctly and they are in a good position to make sure that they're over their injury. So I think that would be something that City would talk with RB Leipzig about before deciding if they're going to spend €65 million on Dani Olmo. But again, another player now added to the list, a growing list of City looking for central midfielders in the summer. So there we go, that has been the video. Do let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments below. Don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up. 200 likes is the aim. Do subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on. Remember, going to be doing daily Manchester City transfer updates from June for you guys to stay up to date through June, July and August every single day here on YouTube with all the latest Manchester City transfer news. You don't want to miss it. Also, don't forget social media links. They're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorship for any videos or any general business inquiries. And finally, I want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by Sofascore. I'll see you all again real soon for the next Manchester City video, which will be my preview of Manchester City's huge game coming up against West Ham in the Premier League. So I'll see you then. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.